In this video, we will show you how to replace your rear heater hose connector T. On this Chevy Tahoe, this will be located along the passenger side firewall of your engine compartment. Let's get into it. Okay friends, let's get started on our job. Make your way over to the coolant recovery tank. Make sure it's cool to the touch. Carefully open the cap by turning it counterclockwise and remove it up and away from your face. Give the cap a quick inspection, make sure that the seal is in good condition. Go ahead and set that cap aside and make your way under the front of the vehicle. Now from underneath the driver's side front corner of your vehicle, you're going to be looking for the radiator drain. That's this area that has a little white turning knob on it. Just off to the left of that knob, there's a small tube that protrudes out from there that you can add a small hose leading down to your collection bucket to help prevent making a mess. Now as we open this, keep in mind that coolant is a chemical. You want to be extremely careful not to get it in your eyes or in your mouth. We'll open this up and allow the coolant to drain. Now that this is at a steady trickle, we'll just go ahead and close off that drain. Make sure it's nice and tight. You don't want this leaking on you once you have it refilled. At this point, I'll just remove that diverter hose and we can get out from under the vehicle. Now that we have the coolant drained, let's make our way right up this hose to where it connects onto the white connecting T. On that hose, you're going to find that you have a connector with two little squeeze tabs. We'll squeeze those in and remove the hose from the T. Pop that off of there. Once you have the hose disconnected, I always like to give it a quick inspection. We can set this aside. Now that we have the hose out of the way, pay close attention to the T itself. You'll find that you still have that locking clip located in position. To remove this, you can use two angled picks. We'll try to use one of these, get underneath one of those locking ears, and gently pull it away from the T. Once you've done so, you can use that other pick and start sliding it out of position. With one side unlocked, we'll continue on and do the same on the other side. There's that. Close inspection, set it aside. Now we can take that locking clip and we'll slide it into position, making sure that we have each of those locking ears lined up with their corresponding slots in the hose. Now that we have that hose off of there, the next thing we'll do is follow this connector all the way back to where it connects onto the heater core, which is coming out through the firewall along the back. To remove this, we'll do the exact same thing. Squeeze on those two ears and gently give it a tug. Keep in mind, it is still attached to this other coolant line, which leads to the rear of the vehicle. Now that we have it removed from there, we can continue on to our last connector. For this one, once again, squeeze those two ears and lift this up and off of here. If you need to, you can use some pliers. Now we can finish preparing that line. You'll find on the tip of mine, I still have my O-ring. We are not going to be reusing that, so we can remove it and set it aside. Now we also have the locking clip still on the line. To remove that, you want to get underneath each of the locking ears and slide this up and off of the line. We will not be reusing this. Now that we have that connecting T off of there, it's important to make sure you clean and inspect both of the lines. If you see any damage or buildup of corrosion, you're going to want to either clean that or replace the line. This one looks good. All right, let's get ready for the installation of our brand new heater hose connector T. We'll start by putting the small line directly into the smaller port. Once we've done that, we'll slide this larger area over the larger line, which is part of the heater core, on that firewall. We'll press it down, listen for a click, give it a tug to make sure it is secured properly. Now we can slide the T over that larger line, which is part of the heater core, and press it in. I heard a nice click there. I'm going to give it a tug to make sure that is secured. Now that we have the T installed, we can continue on to our last mounting hose. We'll just slide this right into position. Listen for a click from it, give it a tug to make sure it's secure. Double check this area to make sure the hose is secured in its mounting bracket. Okay friends, now it's time to fill the cooling system. What you'll find is along the top of the coolant reservoir, I have a specialty coolant filling tool here. If you don't have one of those, you can also use a funnel. The only problem with using a funnel is it's common to have a lot of air bubbles inside of the system and it will take a lot longer to burp them out. If you have this specialty tool, it'll create vacuum and then draw the coolant into the cooling system as needed. Now with using a vacuum system like this, what you can also do is watch the gauge. If you find that the gauge starts dropping into the yellow, or even worse, into the red, that means you have a leak someplace. You need to diagnose it and you need to fix it before you continue filling. I'll let this sit like this for approximately a minute, just so I can ensure there is no leaks before I continue filling. Alright, at this point we can continue on filling the cooling system. When you do this, you can either use Dexcool coolant or you can use a universal coolant. Whatever you do, make sure it is not a concentrate. It needs to either be pre-mixed or mixed by you as a 50-50 mixture. At this point, our tool is drawing the coolant into the system and it's making sure that no air is making its way in as well. When you're filling the coolant reservoir, you don't necessarily need to go all the way up to the top. Just pay attention along the side. That's where you'll find the fill chart. Now at this point, we have our coolant filled up to the cold range, right up inside here. That looks perfect. I'll set my tool aside. At this point, we can continue on to installing our coolant reservoir cap. We'll screw this all the way on until it feels as though it's bottomed out. Once you've done this, you can continue on inside the vehicle. Start it up. Put the key in the hot range and the blower motor on high. Let the vehicle run for a while. We want to make sure that we have plenty of heat coming out of the vents, and you also want to make sure that the cooling fan along the front of the vehicle turns on as well. After that, go ahead and take your vehicle for a road test. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.